But to understand why Grant demanded those names, you need to know what happened 36 hours earlier.
And I ordered them
April
into
6th, 1862. Dawn.
God
Grant's
forgive me.
army, 40,000 men, is camped along the Tennessee River near a small church called Shiloh. They're waiting for General Buell's reinforcements from Nashville, 25,000 fresh troops. Once Buell arrives, they'll march south, attack the Confederate stronghold at Corinth, split the Confederacy. Win the war. Grant is confident. His men are veterans, victorious at Fort Henry, Fort Donelson, undefeated. The Confederates are demoralized, retreating, broken. Grant doesn't order entrenchments. No defensive positions. No fortifications. His men camp in open fields, tents in neat rows, muskets stacked, relaxed, because Grant doesn't believe the enemy will attack. Why would they? They're retreating, defeated, running. But there was something Grant still didn't know. 20 miles south, Confederate General Albert Sidney Johnston has assembled 44,000 men, the largest Confederate army in the Western Theater. And he's not retreating. He's attacking. At dawn, April 6, 1862, 5 a.m., Confederate soldiers emerge from the woods like ghosts. Thousands of them, screaming, firing, charging. They hit Grant's forward camps before the Union soldiers finish breakfast. Men die in their tents, in their bedrolls, holding coffee cups. The Union line collapses. Regiments shatter. Soldiers flee. Panic spreads like wildfire. Grant is 6 miles away, at his headquarters in Savannah, Tennessee, eating breakfast. He hears the guns. Distant thunder. Continuous. Grant rides hard toward Shiloh. He knows immediately. Arrives at 8 a.m. What he sees stops his heart. He's been caught. His army is disintegrating. You won't
Entire
believe this,
brigades running.
but Grant almost
Thousands
lost
of soldiers
everything in the
fleeing
next 4
toward
hours.
the river.
Officers screaming orders no one follows. Wounded everywhere. Dead everywhere. Chaos. The Confederate attack is overwhelming. Wave after wave. Relentless. Coordinated. Brutal. Grant's divisions are isolated. Surrounded. Dying. General Sherman's position is overrun 3 times. He holds. Barely. Takes a bullet through his hand. Another through his hat. His horse is shot 4 times. He keeps fighting. General Prentiss holds a sunken road, later called the Hornet's Nest. His men fire so fast their musket barrels glow red. Confederates charge. Die. Charge again. Die again. For 6 hours, Prentiss holds. Then he's surrounded. Captures. His entire division. Gone. By noon, Grant's army is compressed into a half-mile strip along the river. Backs against the water. Nowhere to retreat. Confederates closing in. Victory within reach. Grant rides through the chaos. His face is stone. Calm. Unreadable. Inside, he's calculating. 13,000 men engaged. Maybe 7,000 still fighting effectively. Confederates have numerical advantage. Momentum. Position. Everything. Grant's senior officers find him near the river landing. General Sherman. General McClernand. Faces grim. Exhausted. Desperate. Sherman speaks first. Bleeding hand wrapped in cloth. Grant, we're finished. We need to evacuate. Get the men across the river. Regroup. We've lost. Grant looks at him. Doesn't blink. Retreat. We have no choice. They'll overrun us by nightfall. No. Grant, listen, we're not retreating. We're attacking. Silence. Sherman stares. Thinks Grant has lost his mind. Attacking? With what? Half our army is
until
dead
dark.
or running. Then we attack
other
at
half
dawn.
is barely
We'll hit
holding.
them when they
We're
think
out of
they've won.
ammunition.
And
Out
if
of
we
time.
can't hold until
Out of
dark,
options.
Grant's
Grant
eyes
points
are cold.
across the river.
Hard. Buell
Certain.
arrives tonight.
Then we die here.
25,000
don't
fresh
retreat.
troops. Wait, we don't miss this detail. But here's what Grant doesn't tell Sherman. Doesn't tell anyone. 3 weeks earlier, Grant received orders from General Halleck, his superior, commander of the Department of the Missouri. The orders were clear. Wait for Buell. Do not engage the enemy until reinforcements arrive. Do not risk battle without numerical superiority. Grant read those orders, understood them, then positioned his army exactly where it could be attacked. No entrenchments. No defensive preparations. No scouts deep enough to detect enemy approach. Why? Because Grant wanted battle. Needed battle. Believed the only way to win the war was through aggressive action. Constant pressure. Relentless attack. Waiting was losing. Caution was defeat. So he ignored Halleck's orders. Put his army in a position where battle was inevitable. And when the Confederates attacked, 13,000 Union soldiers paid the price for Grant's impatience. Now, standing by the Tennessee River with his army dying, Grant carries that weight. Those deaths are his responsibility, his choice, his fault. If he retreats, everyone knows. Halleck knows. Lincoln knows. The nation knows. Grant disobeyed orders, got his army slaughtered, lost the battle. His career ends. His reputation destroyed. His name synonymous with failure. But if he holds, if he attacks tomorrow, if he wins, then the casualties become acceptable. 1862. The risk justified. Night falls. The disobedience forgiven. Silence. Everything depends on the next 18 hours. Wounded men Grant cover the battlefield. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. Crying, begging, dying. Union, Confederate. No difference in the dark. Just suffering. Grant's men collapse where they stand. No food. Little water. Ammunition nearly gone. They lie among corpses. Sleep in blood. Wait for dawn. Wait for death. Rain begins. Cold. Heavy. Soaking. The wounded drown in puddles. Freeze in the mud. Their cries fade. One by one. Grant walks through the camp. Sees his soldiers. Boys, most of them. 18. 19. 20. Faces hollow. Eyes empty. Traumatized. They've seen things no one should see. Done things no one should do. And tomorrow, he'll order them to do it again. Colonel Rawlins finds Grant near a field hospital. A barn overflowing with wounded. Surgeons amputating by candlelight. Pile of limbs outside growing. Sir, General Buell has arrived. His lead division is crossing the river now. 25,000 men will be in position by dawn. Grant nods. Doesn't smile. Doesn't celebrate. Just calculates. Order all division commanders to prepare for attack. 5 a.m. We advance on all fronts. No stopping. No retreating. We push them back or we die trying. Rawlins hesitates. Sir, the men are exhausted. Traumatized. Half of them are in shock. Can they attack? They'll attack. Because if they don't, today was for nothing. Those 13,000 died for nothing. And I won't let that be true. Grant walks away. Finds a tree. Sits. Leans against the trunk. Rain pours. He doesn't move. Doesn't sleep. Just sits. Listening to the wounded scream. Counting the cost of his choices. Sherman finds him an hour later. Sits beside him. Lights a cigar. Offers one to Grant. Grant takes it. They smoke in silence. Finally, was it worth it? Sherman speaks. Today? It's been a hell of a day. Casualties. Yes. For what? We can still win. Grant doesn't answer immediately. Yes. Stares into darkness. Tomorrow Finally, will be worse. Ask me tomorrow. Grant looks at him. After we win. Rain streams down after his we're face. Dead. Either way, we'll know. What you're seeing now is nothing compared to what comes next. April 7th, 1862. 5 a.m. Dawn. Grant's army attacks. 40,000 men. Half of them fresh. Buell's reinforcements. The other half exhausted survivors from yesterday. But they attack. The Confederates are shocked. They expected retreat, surrender, collapse. Instead, they face a massive assault. Coordinated, aggressive, overwhelming. The Union line advances. Slowly, brutally, yard by yard. The fighting is savage. Hand to hand. Bayonets. Rifle butts. Fists. Men kill each other in the mud. In the rain. In the blood. Grant rides behind the lines. Directing. Adjusting. Reinforcing weak points. His face shows nothing. No emotion. No doubt. Just cold determination. By noon, the Confederates are falling back. Their commander, General Johnston, is dead. Bled out yesterday afternoon from a leg wound. His replacement, General Beauregard, sees the situation. The Union has numerical superiority now. Fresh troops. Momentum. The Confederates are exhausted. Out of ammunition. Out of options. Beauregard orders retreat. By 4 p.m., the battlefield is silent again. The Confederates are gone, marching back to Corinth. Defeated, Grant's army holds the field. 1862. Victorious. Evening. The Battle of Shiloh is over. Colonel Rollins has just given him the casualty count. But the truly shocking part is what Grant does next. 13,000 Union. 1,700 confirmed dead. Thousands more wounded. Missing. Dying. Grant orders Rollins to read the names. Every Union soldier killed. Rollins reads. For 3 hours. 1,700 names. Ranks. Units. Hometowns. Private Miller. 14th Iowa. Dubuque. Corporal Jackson. 6th Ohio. Cleveland. Sergeant Thompson. 11th Illinois. Chicago. Captain Morrison. 25th Indiana. Indianapolis. Lieutenant Hayes. 9th Kentucky. Louisville. Name after name. After name. After name. Grant stands at attention. Doesn't sit. Doesn't move. Just listens. His face shows nothing. But his hands shake. Slightly. Constantly. When Rollins finishes, his voice is hoarse. Broken. Grant is silent for a long moment. Then, send letters to every family. Personal letters. From me. Tell them their son, their husband, their father died bravely. Died for the Union. Died for something that mattered. Sir, that's 1,700 letters. I know. I'll write them. Every one. It's the least I can do. Rollins leaves. Grant sits. Pulls out paper. Pen. Begins writing. Dear Mrs. Miller, it is my painful duty to inform you that your son, Private James Miller, was killed in action on April 6, 1862, at the Battle of Shiloh. He died bravely, serving his country with honor. His sacrifice will not be forgotten. I am deeply sorry for your loss. Respectfully, Brigadier General U.S. Grant. He writes another. And another. And another. Second in command. Into the next day. I'm taking direct control of operations. It's a demotion, a humiliation, but not a dismissal. Because Grant knows the truth. Leaves. Just when they thought it was over, the truth emerged. Blamed. But he's still in the army. Still in the war. Still carrying 1,700 names. And counting. You won't believe what happens next. Months pass. Halleck's cautious approach stalls. The war drags. Casualties mount. Lincoln grows frustrated. The Union needs victories. Needs aggressive commanders. Needs someone willing to pay the price. July 1863. Vicksburg falls. Grant's victory. The Mississippi River is Union-controlled. The Confederacy split. March 1864. Lincoln promotes Grant. General-in-Chief. Commander of all Union armies. The man blamed for Shiloh now commands everything. Grant develops a strategy. Simple. Brutal. Effective. Constant pressure. Simultaneous attacks. Overwhelming force. Relentless advance. No retreats. No pauses. No mercy. The Overland Campaign. The Wilderness. Spotsylvania. Cold Harbor. Massive casualties. Unprecedented losses. The newspapers call him Butcher Grant again. Politicians demand his removal again. But Lincoln refuses. I can't spare this man. He fights. Grant keeps attacking. Keeps losing men. Keeps advancing. Because he understands what others don't. The Confederacy can't replace losses. The Union can. Every battle trades lives. Confederate lives the South can't afford to lose. Union lives the North can replace. It's brutal mathematics. Inhuman calculus. But it works. April 9, 1865. Appomattox Courthouse. General Robert E. Lee surrenders. The war is over. The Union won. 620,000 Americans dead. More than all other American wars combined. Grant is president until World War II. Then Grant commanded for the writing his memoirs, his strategy, dying of throat cancer, his casualties, 63 years old, his burden, racing death. But the truly shocking part is what Grant for his family. He writes about Shiloh, about the 1,700 names, about the choice he made. I have been criticized for Shiloh, for being unprepared, for the casualties, for the suffering. The criticism is deserved. I made mistakes. Men died because of my decisions. I carry those deaths. Every one. But I would make the same choices again. Because Shiloh taught me the truth about war. War is not about avoiding casualties. It's about accepting them, using them, turning death into victory. The commander who hesitates, who retreats, who prioritizes preservation over aggression, prolongs the war. And a prolonged war kills more men than any single battle. Shiloh killed 13,000 Union soldiers in 2 days. But it opened the path to Vicksburg, to splitting the Confederacy, to ending the war years earlier. How many lives did that save? 50,000? 100,000? I don't know. I'll never know. But I know that the 1,700 names I memorized that night in the farmhouse purchased something. They purchased victory. They purchased union. They purchased the end of slavery. They purchased America. Does that justify their deaths? I don't know. I carry them. Every day. For the rest of my life. That's the price of command. That's the burden of victory. That's the weight I'll carry to my grave. Grant finishes his memoirs. Dies 1 week later. July 23, 1885. His last words. I hope nobody is distressed on my account. But he carried the distress. For 23
Ulysses
years,
S.
Grant,
The general
names,
who won the Civil
and
War.
thousands more.
The president
The price
who tried
of
to
winning,
protect
the
freed
cost of
slaves
command,
during
the
Reconstruction.
weight of being right.
The man who
What
saved
happened
the Union.
next would define
History
his
remembers
legacy
him
forever.
as a hero.
A bulldog. The man who wouldn't quit, who wouldn't retreat, who wouldn't lose. But Grant remembered something else. Shiloh. The 1,700 names. The 13,000 casualties. The choice to disobey orders. To risk everything. To let men die. He remembered standing in that farmhouse, listening to Rollins read names for 3 hours, feeling each one like a bullet, carrying each one like a stone. He remembered the mathematics, the brutal calculus. 13,000 casualties to save 100,000 lives. 1,700 deaths to open the path to victory. Acceptable losses. Necessary sacrifices. The price of winning. But Grant never escaped the faces. The screams. The letters to 1,700 families. The weight of command. The cost of victory. The price of choosing aggression over caution. In the end, every war is won by commanders willing to pay prices others won't. Every victory is purchased with blood. Every great general carries the weight of the men who died following orders. Grant kept attacking at Shiloh. Let men die. Let families grieve. Let the nation call him butcher. And he won. He won the battle. Won the war. Won the Union. April 7th,
And he carried them
1862.
for the rest of his life.
Shiloh,
That's the
Tennessee.
truth history
When
doesn't
Grant saw
tell.
23,000 names
winners
on the
carried.
casualty list,
That's the
he
price
made a
of
being the
choice.
man who wouldn't
Not to
quit,
retreat.
not to apologize, not to choose caution over victory. That choice killed 13,000 men. That choice won the battle. That choice opened the path to winning the war. That choice haunted him for the rest of his life. Some commanders choose caution. Some commanders choose preservation. But Grant chose aggression. He kept attacking through casualties that horrified the nation, through losses that destroyed reputations, through mathematics that seemed inhuman. And he carried every death for the rest of his life. Ulysses S. Grant at Shiloh, the general who chose victory over safety, the commander who let men die to win battles, the leader who paid for the Union in blood and carried the price in 1,700 names memorized, in 23 years of guilt, in a question he could never fully answer. Was it worth it? That's the weight of command. That's the cost of winning wars. That's the truth beneath the legend. Some men die in Tennessee peach orchards. Some men die in Virginia wilderness. But every war is won by commanders willing to accept the unacceptable. And the general who makes that choice carries every name. Forever.